Yeah, hi. I'm just here reflecting back on some previous videos that I did, and I decided to do a little bit of research. And something of what I said about how, in quantum reality, everything is reflected back to us from our minds, from what we think. And I was talking about how it's our thoughts, that pretty much control everything. It looks as though everything is outside of us, but in actuality, everything comes from within our minds. And I mentioned something about the weather, how unknowingly we control that as well through our thinking. And I decided to do some research about ancient times, like in Rome and Egypt, and pretty nice actually. The weather back then was really quite warm. So yeah, I did some research. So I wrote a commentary that I'll read here about it. So this is what I got from what I read, but I wrote it in my own words just to make it a little more interesting. In ancient Rome, the weather was attentive, warm, and friendly, with even amounts of rain throughout, and rarely was the earth ever violent to them. They could grow grapes in northern England. The weather was their friend. They lived close to nature, and nature was close to them. Now, okay, that's the end of my commentary. So now what it seems like to me is that their minds were in the right place, because I don't believe in coincidences. Okay, everything happens for reasons. I don't think it was just a coincidence that they happened to live in a time where the weather was so nice and warm. I really don't think that's the case. I really believe that our thoughts do reflect outside. So our thoughts come from in us, and they reflect back to us from the outside, which looks like it's coming from the outside when really it's coming from the inside. Now, I had a lot of trouble doing my last video about energy because it kind of contradicts everything I said about quantum reality, because I was saying how if you could go back and read what they called junk DNA, how it would give the story of our past, but then at the same time I'm kind of contradicting myself, saying that everything is now, that there really is no past. But you see, some things you just kind of have to make common sense out of and try to figure out for yourselves, because a lot of what I'm trying to explain, I don't think there really are words for. You more or less have to feel it, if you know what I mean. A lot of things you can't really put words into. You just kind of have to feel what I'm talking about, if that makes sense to you, or however you can make sense out of it. Because there are words that have been throughout history that have been lost, that lots of meanings have been lost. For one example, the meaning of God, I hate to say this word because I don't believe in it, but just the word sin is stupid, because if you look back, it never meant what people think it means. It's a very silly thing. It just it's like you try to aim for your goal, and and you don't make your goal, and that's just like you're not putting enough effort into it. So it's not like you're a terrible person. I mean, everybody's human. We all are here to learn from everything. So that's just my thought for today. I know there was something else. Oh, okay. Yeah, it would be really interesting to know where their mindset was back in ancient times, because I know they had gods, but the thing that I'm wondering is, are these gods that they create, are they from within? Did they create them from within themselves? Or did they create these gods outside themselves? That would be really interesting, but I don't think that's anything you could ever really know unless you could actually go back and talk to someone who lived back in those times. because this is a whole other concept of thinking. Today people aren't really thinking in those concepts unless they think of quantum, physics, which is how I think. So that, and yeah, see, it's really our nature to want to be thankful for things that we see happen, and to want to thank something that's not within us. Like, something unusual happens and you're like, oh, thank you, but it's like you're not really thanking yourself. You want to thank a higher, you want to believe there's something higher than you out there, that has control, that you can thank. And that's just in our nature, and I think we need to learn to appreciate ourselves more and to thank ourselves more. Okay, so that's all for today.